Welcome everyone to this video demonstration on how to paint ocean waves. This demonstration is part of a series of ocean waves I have been painting to help you learn how to create dynamic waves using pastels. I like to start out with an underpainting technique. It is the first layer of colors applied to the paper as you see me doing here. It functions as a base layer for your entire painting, and it helps establish some of the tonal values to follow when beginning your painting. And because it doesn't smear or smudge, the colors begin to show through like a transparent veil on your painting. You can begin to see the dark and light values of my wave, and once I have completely covered the entire pastel paper, I will use isopropyl alcohol to blend and dissolve all the pigment in the paper together. I will begin blending the lighter colors first, just to keep my brush a little cleaner, and gradually blend the entire shapes to create my base layer for this painting. Once I have blended the entire surface, I will have a base layer that is dry and solid, and I will be able to apply more soft pastels over it without any concern of smearing or over blending the colors on the painting. It also provides me somewhat of a roadmap on the painting to follow as I begin to add more color and shading to the painting. I am using a 9x12 UArt sanded paper, a 600 grit sanded paper for this project. And my photo reference I am using is from the Paint My Photo website by dart67. The wave has a lot of dark green tones, and I want to apply the darkest layer of green at the base layer of the trough. I will be using my sponge applicators to blend the pastel, and I find that it's been working very well because I am new to using sponge applicators. I typically blend with my fingers, but I find that the UArt sanded paper is rather rough because of the sanded texture, and the sponge applicators work very well for this blending process. You can usually find these sponge applicators on sites that sell pan pastel. So I want to finish the background water before I begin working more on the large wave. I am using a lot of horizontal strokes with my pastel pencils to create some of the texture and movement in the waves, and it also creates some highlights as the current of the water is moving. As a wave begins to rise, it pulls some of that surface foam into the wave. The color of the foam in the distant wave will be darker than the large wave in the foreground. I'm going to start on the large wave It has a lot of heavy sea foam floating on the surface, so this will be whiter in color. I can apply lighter shades of blue and white over the underpainting without worry of smudging or mixing of my colors. I do want a clean, whiter look for my surface highlights. I'm going to begin developing some of the surface trails of the white foam, so please follow along as I begin developing the texture and flow of the water. As the large wave rises to its peak, the center section of the wave is really a concave uh, shape, and the colors of the sea foam will be shades of green and blue on a lighter tonal value. The arching of the wave actually creates some shadows beneath it, so this is why those colors are a little bit darker on the tonal value. I will gradually add the white foam and some small trails of white spray, but this is a slow process, so please follow along as I continue to develop this area. So now I think the center of my wave has a very nice translucent effect, as if light is shining through the crest of the wave. I will continue to use my whitest white pastel to create the very top highlights in the wave and to begin creating some of the spray that washes off the lower part of the wave and into the upper regions of the wave. I will use an X-Acto knife and gradually scrape off some fine particles of pastel to create the spray on the top of the crest. Then I use my glassine paper with the backside of a pastel pencil to rub the particles into the grain of the paper. I will gradually add more spray and use the glassine paper again to push the particles into the paper. I'm going to gently use my finger to swipe up some of the spray to give it a more natural appearance. Now that the painting is nearly done, I'm going to go back and add some touch-up. I wanted to add a little more green texture to the background water before I finish the foreground foam area. I think the background water has a little better contrast now. And now I can move back to the wave and add a little more shading to the underside where the crest of the wave is casting some shadows. And then I will move on to finishing the spray that is coming off the top of the wave into a little bit more of a higher spray pattern. Once I'm done with this process, I'll use the glassine paper again to push the color into the paper, and then this will be nearly done. I will move to the foreground and complete the foam texture, and hope you have enjoyed watching this entire process. If you have liked this video, please press like and subscribe if you haven't already. I make almost weekly videos, and if you press the bell icon, you will get notifications of all my new demonstrations and lessons in pastel. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.